Hey everybody, this is Charlie, the Pennsylvania grain farmer. Today is Friday. I believe it's December the 2nd, but I know it's definitely Friday. We're coming to you here from, currently sunny Western Pennsylvania. It's been a half decent day today. It's been kind of cold. Yesterday was a high of 36, but today we're at a high of about 50, which is probably a little bit warmer than normal for this time of year. But my last video that I did was regarding getting ready for winter, and I showed putting the high lift on this tractor and the back blade, as you can see the corner of down here, and also the front blade on my side-by-side, so I'm pretty much ready to plow snow. But the one thing that I didn't do was to put the tire chains on this tractor, which I do in case we get some ice with that snow, because our driveway is pretty steep in parts, and if you get a little bit of rain and then it freezes, or some snow melt and it freezes, then you have ice, and the tires themselves just won't get the job done. But with those chains on, it gives me a lot more grip. Now I have the chains laying out here. I don't have them quite ready to go on yet, but I do have the tractor ready. The way that I used to do this was that I would lay the chains out behind the tractor, and then I would back up on them, and then about halfway, and then I would start the chains up onto the tires and then continue backing, so the tractor would pull the chains on. But I could never get the chains really tight that way, and they're and once you get them on there, they're heavy, and with the tire lugs, they're difficult to work them up where you want them. So a couple years ago I started doing it a little bit differently, and that is I now use a bottle jack to jack the tractor up. And this is a 20-ton jack that has no problem whatsoever lifting up this tractor. So I have it jacked up. It's out of gear, so the tire here will spin freely. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that chain up here on the tire, get it started rolling, and I want to have it so that the end of the chain is about even with this hole in the wheel. And what I'll do when I get the ends of the chain up there, I'll tie a twine through them and run it through that hole from one side to the other, so that it holds the chain in place. And then that way what I'll do is I'll spin the tire the whole way around, and bring it up so that my ends are over here on the right side, and then I'll get everything bolted together. And I found that if I do that, I can get the chain a lot tighter, and there isn't that usually present slack down at the bottom as the tire's coming off the ground with the chain hanging. So I've done it this way the last couple years. I find it easier that way. I'm not telling you how to do it. If you put tire chains on and you use a different method, that's totally up to you. I'm not saying this is the method for everyone, or that this is even the best method, but this is the method that's been working for me. So I have everything ready, so I'm going to go ahead and get that tire up there and get it tied, and then we'll try to get a little more video. Okay, so I got the chain tied on there and got it wrapped around. You can see that I have this part of the chain. That was the part that I started with. It's tied into the wheel, and I just simply spun the whole thing around. So now, the ends are overlapping. I think you can see there's very little chain hanging down. This keeps the chain nice and tight. So what I'm going to do now, and I won't do it on camera, is and waste your time, but I'm simply going to get all these attachments tied into one another, and then we'll be pretty much ready to go. All right, and at this point I have this tire done. It didn't take very long, but on each side there's a bolt, and then there's one of these typical tire chain hooks that has a bolt through it, and you do that on each side. So there's really 4 places it attaches. And then I always whenever I'm done, put these bungees on the outside. Probably doesn't need them, but you know, as the chain, the tire rolls and the chain moves and settles into the lugs a little bit, sometimes it will loosen up. And those bungees that I put 2 on this side and 2 in the same spots on the back side, and that tends to help hold this in place pretty well. So that's really what's involved. I'm done with this tire. I'm going to let the jack down, jack the other side up, and put the tire chain on it, which is going to be the same thing as what you saw here. So I won't bore you by videoing any of that. So that's going to wrap it up for this one. I hope you enjoyed this. And again, I'm not saying this is how everybody else should do it. I'm not putting down anybody else's way, because I know there are different methods, and I think everybody has to do what works for them. But what I showed you here really works for me and makes it a hell of a lot easier. So as I said, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please hit the like button, and I hope that you also consider subscribing if you already haven't. And if you have subscribed, I appreciate that very much. So for now, this is Charlie, the Pennsylvania grain farmer, saying, see you next time.